Welcome in, everybody. We got a lot to talk about. What's not happening in the world? But one of the things I want to do is go back to the FBI hearing that we left off at. So a couple things I wanted to see there, and also talk about
Patel,
this.
during your
We
confirmation
want to talk about this statue here because I was looking at this.
hearing, you made several important commitments.
Like,
for instance, you told
wait,
Senator.
hold on. I wondered if this statue was a real or not. I'm still not sure what's going on. Did y'all see this? Shout out to everybody in the building and everybody on the replay. So let's see what they are saying about this statue. So they're saying that the statue has been removed. You know what? I'm gonna wait to get into that. Let's start with Jasmine Crockett. Uh-oh, what did I just do? Give me 1 second here. I'm messing with buttons back here. But y'all, please smack the thumbs up as you come into the building.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you made several important commitments. For instance, you told Senator Coons there will be no politicization at the FBI. There'll be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as FBI director. So let me ask you very specifically, did you ever take any action to terminate or discipline an FBI agent or employee in whole or in part as retribution for being part of an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th?
No.
You also committed, you assured Senator Blumenthal, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. So you're testifying today that you played no role in the firing of even a single FBI agent for political retribution.
None for political retribution.
And if any FBI agent said you did, they would be lying. Is that your testimony?
I'm only speaking to my actions. Everybody is allowed to make their allegations.
Oh, no, these are allegations against you.
And
so, Mr. Patel, if FBI, senior FBI agents or employees said that you were firing them for political retribution reasons because of the cases they were assigned, you're saying they would be lying. Is that
anyone that was terminated at the FBI was done so for failing to meet the standards, uphold their constitutional oath, and effectuate the mission.
Well, by meet the standards, are you talking about meet the standards of protecting the president under any circumstance?
No.
You also guaranteed Senator Blumenthal that every FBI employee will be held to the same, absolute same standard. No one will be terminated for case assignments. Are you testifying today that you never terminated anyone at the FBI in whole or in part because of a prior case assignment?
No one at the FBI is terminated for case assignments alone.
Well, I'm asking about you, Mr. Patel. Did you, in whole or in part, terminate anyone at the FBI because they worked on the Trump investigation or because they worked on January 6th?
No one at the FBI has been terminated for case assignments alone.
Okay, you're saying alone. Does that mean they were terminated in part because they were assigned to a January 6th case or assigned to the Mar-a-Lago case? You're being very precise here, Mr. Patel. You're saying alone. That means they were fired in part because they were assigned those cases. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. But if you want to keep putting words in my mouth,
then let me ask you, let's strip away the word alone. Did you terminate or participate in any discipline of any FBI employee in whole or in part because of their work on an investigation of Donald Trump or January 6th? Yes or no?
Any terminations at the FBI by employees?
No, I'm asking you a very specific question.
And I'm going to answer the question, but you don't like the answer because it's the truth and it guts
want
your
an answer to my
narrative.
question. I don't want an answer to someone else's question. So let me just be precise, and I ask for a yes or no answer. Did you ever terminate or discipline an FBI employee in whole or in part because they had been assigned or worked
Shout
on
out
an
to my
investigation of
BFF.
Donald Trump or
Welcome in.
January 6th?
FBI
Yes or no?
employees are only terminated
Yes
if
or
they
no,
fail
Mr.
to
Patel?
uphold their oaths of
Yes or
office
no?
and duty.
You're not
at the
answering my
FBI
question.
Before they get to arguing too much, y'all please smack the thumbs up as you come into the building. So we're gonna talk about that statue. That was a beautiful statue, huh, Jersey Mike? Yeah, I'm like, is this real or not? I'm gonna let them get finished arguing, and we're gonna talk about the statue because I want to know what the heck.
I don't have to answer your question yes or no because you're setting up a trap so you can have a media
I'm
narrative.
not setting up a trap,
and I'm not giving it to you.
Unless it's true that you fired people.
People have been terminated at the FBI who failed to uphold the standards that the FBI requires them to uphold.
Did you tell anyone at the FBI that all FBI employees who they identified who had worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
Say that I would remove people for case assignments?
That people that were identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs. Did you tell that to someone at the FBI?
People are not removed for
just
case
answer my
assignments.
question. Just answer my question. Did you tell that to someone?
People are not removed for case assignments.
No, you're not answering my question.
And I would
Mr.
never
Patel,
tell anyone.
Did you tell someone at the FBI that FBI employees identified as having worked on cases against President Trump would be removed from their jobs? Yes or no? Did you tell someone that?
I would never tell anyone at the FBI that they're being removed for basically their case assignments.
Okay, so anyone who said that would be lying. Is that your testimony?
Anyone can say whatever they want.
No, I know, but you're saying they were a liar.
I'm telling you what I said.
Because this is in the complaint against you, Mr. Patel. So you're saying Mr. Driscoll and others are liars?
I'm not going to address the complaint in the ongoing
Okay, well then
litigation.
let me ask you, have you ever told anyone at the FBI that the FBI tried to put the president in jail and he hasn't forgotten it, and that your job depended on the removal of agents who worked on cases against the president?
No.
Did you ever tell anyone that?
No.
Okay. Did you ever tell anyone that you knew these summary firings you were undertaking were illegal, likely illegal, and that you would be sued and later deposed? Did you ever tell anyone that?
No firings at the FBI or terminations were done for anything other than justified
Did you ever
cause.
tell anyone that, Mr. Patel? Why don't you answer my question?
Terminations at the FBI were ever done in my tenure for anything other than failing.
Did you ever
to
tell
uphold
anyone
their
that,
oath
Mr.
of
Patel? You willing to
office
answer
or
the question?
The FBI.
I guess you're not willing to answer the question. So let me move on. Let me move on to the Epstein files. You said you're the most transparent FBI director in history, so I'm going to put you to the test. In 2024, you were asked by Glenn Beck about Epstein's Black Book. And you said, he asked, who has Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book? And you said, Black Book FBI. And he said, but who? That is, I mean, there's, and you said, oh, that's under the direct control of the director of the FBI. That's what you said. Was that true, Mr. Patel?
I'll rely on you quoting it accurately. I did that a couple
Was
of
it
years
true
ago.
What you represented to Mr. Beck and the president's supporters out there, or were you lying? Was it true that the Black Book, Epstein's Black Book, was in the possession of the FBI director?
The Black Book was in the possession of the FBI.
Okay, so now that you're the FBI director, you have possession of the Black Book, right?
That index has been released.
So you have Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book?
What is known as Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book has been released by us.
And you released it. And let me follow up on Senator Kennedy's question, because he asked you, and I'll be very precise here. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? And you said himself, there's no credible information, none. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And Kennedy, the information we have, again, is limited. And Senator Kennedy said, the answer is no one. And you said, for the information we have. So is it your testimony today that in all of the Epstein files, that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to anyone but himself? Is that your testimony, Mr.
I never
Patel?
said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic anyone else.
Did he traffic any young woman to someone other than himself? That was Mr. Kennedy's question, Senator Kennedy's question.
The information that 3 administrations have had access to have made determinations that there are no investigative leads that were credible to prosecute and investigate any others. I'm specifically stating
whether it's your testimony today.
You just read it, and I said it 10 minutes ago, so let the record reflect my testimony.
I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding, because there are victims like Virginia Guifer who have testified otherwise, who have said otherwise, and you're telling the American people today that the Epstein list is a single name and it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we're to believe?
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying, and you can say whatever you want.
Let me ask you this. When Todd Blanche went to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, but did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there's no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet who you value as your co-workers and would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find out. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. And the next question Todd Blanche, the president's former criminal defense lawyer, asked is not who in the cabinet, who are you referring to? His question is, so when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage? So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Miss Maxwell for 2 days, and we released the entirety of that transcript.
Who are the cabinet members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American public can read the entirety of that.
One last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony, in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision?
Okay, shout out to everybody in the building. We have over 1,600 people in here. Can y'all please smack the thumbs up? We have 1,687 people. And on the crime channel, 251. Can y'all please smack the thumbs up? Support the content, support the host, support the channel just by hitting the thumbs up. So I wanted to see how the president feels about Adam, this guy that's talking, because I seen that it was some type of rift going on with them. So let's see what the president has to say about him.
I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice.
President Trump says Senator Adam Schiff needs to be brought to justice, accusing the California Democrat of possible mortgage fraud after the Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a criminal referral to the Department of Justice requesting further investigation into Schiff's 2 residences, one in Maryland and one in California. Schiff is now responding.
Okay, wait, let's see what
of America. He sent a criminal
Hold on, let's see what else he said in a short clip.
And you say that you want Adam Schiff brought to justice. I would love to see him brought to justice. I'll tell you what, I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice. He's a dishonest, crooked guy. I don't know about the individual charge, if that even happens. But Adam Schiff is a serious lowlife.
Oh, let me know what y'all know about Adam Schiff. I don't know nothing about this guy, but he is not liked by the president.
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of inmates. What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform. Point of order. But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet. Before I go to Senator Tillis.
Okay, so I want to get to the statue.
Off the top of my memory, sir.
I want to see what is being said about this statue. One of the things that I'm seeing is that it was taken down, and it sounded like it wasn't supposed to ever be put up. But it makes no sense to me that somebody would put this up and it wasn't approved. So I'm a little bit confused about that. Do y'all know anything about it? And also, like, there was an ICE shooting that happened that's pretty much still kind of going on. And so it's just so much happening, I can't even keep up with it. But let me, because I still haven't found the information I'm looking for. I'm going to go to the part that I wanted to see here with, let's start with this lady.
As government gangsters? Yes or no?
Time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may respond if he would like.
And the answer was no, as I heard.
Correct.
Mr. Patel, before you joined the FBI, you had very strong opinions about what the FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. In December 2023, you said, let us know who the pedophiles are. Even for a short time after becoming FBI director, in February of 2025, you tweeted, quote, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, we've reviewed all the information. We're going to give you every single thing we have and can. But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a giant cover-up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question. So let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the
please smack the thumbs up, y'all. Support the channel, the content, and the host by double tapping the screen or hitting the 3 dots upper right to the thumbs up. Thank y'all.
Same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else, and that you have, quote, continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information, and we'll look into it. Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appeared to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you about the survivors, and let's bring them up here into the room. These are women who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite
all investigative leads. Is the answer yes or no to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any people on your side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the stats. And you talk about cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you talk about cover-ups.
And I will take as much time as
Where were you during the Obama and Biden administrations when these so-called cover-ups were going on? Why didn't anyone in those administrations talk to any of these purported witnesses? I have some regular order, every single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm going to take another
when you accuse the witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works.
Listen, he didn't even, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you have always been fair. But this is not fair.
And you will get
this is my time. And he said that the witnesses were not credible.
Seconds of time.
I'm going to get an additional minute of time because that's how much time he took.
You won't get a minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand how much time you get. That's not how it works.
Mr. Patel.
It's a lot.
Are the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm commenting on the evidence we have. But we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and Obama Justice Departments had. And they determined, not me, they determined that information was not credible.
Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
You ask the questions, he gives an answer. You may not like what he says, but that doesn't mean you get to interrupt him.
He's not answering my question.
Mr. Chairman, could we restore the gentlelady 45 seconds so she can complete her question?
We will give her additional 30 seconds, which is what I said earlier.
I'm going to keep taking my time because
you'll take the time that you get.
You are not answering the question. The question is,
you just don't like the answer.
Are these women credible? It's a yes or no answer.
I have answered the question.
Well, what is the answer?
Telling you, I'm the only FBI director that has welcomed new information in this case. This administration is the only one that has welcomed any new information in this case.
Is there a yes or no?
Present new credible information. Present new information.
Are the victims credible or not?
I'll tell you what happened in the last Trump administration.
Are they credible or not? You can't even say.
Victims credibly came forward, and you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments of Jeffrey Epstein.
Can y'all help us get to a quick 300 thumbs up? So this lady, her name is Representative Pramila Jayapal. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but she's standing on her square. What y'all think? I hear y'all saying that see y'all saying that her head is about to explode. But I'm on her channel right now. It says Haley Robinson, a survivor. Oh, she's talking to a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to go to that in a second.
Not Biden, not Obama.
President Trump
no one else.
called the entire thing a Democratic hoax. So I would like to ask
the gentlelady's time has expired. I gave her the additional 45 seconds she requested. The gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized for his 5 minutes.
If you would meet with the women who were sexually abused and raped and groomed at the ages of 14 and 16 years old. Are you going to cover up? Are you going to continue to cover up for the rich and powerful men, including those that might be on this committee?
I can yell too, Mr. Chairman, but I don't want to yell above this.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New Jersey. I appreciate the gentlelady yielding back.
Mr. Patel?
Well, I tell you who is going to listen at him, because I'm looking at this. It says Haley Robinson, a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein abuse, on how she feels when Trump calls the Epstein files a hoax. I'm enraged, different reasons. So this is something that lady, representative, she just posted about an hour ago Listen to our conversation on the most recent episode of The Power to Have available. Let's see.
Petition that Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna.
She's calmer.
We have this discharge petition that Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna have put together that calls for the release of all the Epstein files, not just the ones that the DOJ wants to release, but all of them. When you see these Republicans stonewalling, and when you hear Donald Trump, the president of the United States, say this is a hoax, this is a Democrat hoax, what do you say to that?
I'm enraged for different reasons. The whole hoax thing really bothers me, you know, because it's not just disrespectful to all of us that suffered at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump wants to make these comments. How could you continue to say that when I showed up at the Capitol, invited you, and nobody's coming with pitchforks, nobody's trying to come with hostility. We legit just want to say, hey, how can we meet in the middle? How can we all come to a resolution to say, this was a really crappy thing that happened. These are the mistakes that the government made, and this is where you fumbled us. We're willing to put all of that aside, to forgive what has been done, and to move in a positive direction so we can enforce the law and make sure that the next generation never sees another Jeffrey or Ghislaine ever again in the entire world. We have to learn from our mistakes. But when you're not willing to address those mistakes and you're sweeping it under the rug, you're disregarding our trauma. I probably have told over 2,000 people my story in the last 20 years. And it's just really hard because at some point, I just want my country, my government, my people to look at me and say, I see you. I hear you. I'm going to support you. It's not about Republican and Democrat. It's about right and wrong. And I'm seeing a lot of people keep loyalties to what is wrong because of who it is. And at some point, if you want to instill faith in the government, if you want to set an example and a standard for the DOJ, this is the time to do it. We're handing it to you on a platter. This is definitely not a hoax.
Free speech is a huge part of what makes America America. The First Amendment and the protections that it outlines are some of the most fundamental.
Okay, so that was on the lady that just spoke, Representative Pramila Jayapal. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but one of the other things that I wanted to see, people that I wanted to see talk, was Jasmine Crockett. But I am gonna go and see what they talking about with this statue, because what I seen is that it was removed. Like, so how did this person have time to do this and nobody's seen anything? And it's right outside the White House. Like, I thought when I first seen it that it was something that the president put out there. Hey, it's a lot of bold things happening. So I wasn't sure. Now, what the heck? All right, let me look at something else, because this is not where I'm trying to go. Wait a minute. This is... Hold on, y'all.
Piece of where the criminal conduct is occurring in Memphis, and we can't work inside perimeters that are not established and safe, and we don't have the manpower to give us the space to fully go into the areas where the criminal activity remains.
Well, are you suggesting that the National Guard is going to go into the more heavily crime areas?
They're going to establish, like they did in Washington, D.C., perimeters where local law enforcement and the FBI, DEA, ATF, and U.S. Marshals can go into. We can't be going into all these areas knowing that they're extremely volatile and jeopardizing the safety of our agents.
Did the National Guard do anything in Washington to help the FBI stay safe from these dangerous elements?
They established perimeters.
Established perimeter, and the criminals knew about it, so they...
It was a visible force, sir, so they kind of saw it.
Well, what you did, I commend you for what you did, and I think the FBI coming in, we have a crime problem in Memphis. The FBI has helped, DEA will help, and the ATF will help. I don't think the National Guard is going to help, and what I've seen, they're not trained in law enforcement, are they?
No, sir.
And so that could be a problem. Who will direct the National Guard in Memphis? Will it be, will they have control over your agents?
No, sir, they won't.
Who will have control over your agents? You?
Well, the SAC and then ultimately the chain of command up to Washington, D.C. will control the FBI, but there's a task force that was put together that is going to be led by an interagency. The heads of U.S. Marshals, DEA, and FBI will be working together with DHS collectively on this.
Have you visited Memphis before?
Yes, sir, I have.
So you know how good a city it is.
I love Memphis.
A lot of us do. And Memphis is a great city, great history, civil rights museum. Might say something about slavery, but that was the history. It needs to be taught. Blues, Elvis, Beale Street, right, barbecue, and people should come. It's not a troubled city. We've got some crime, but it's not a troubled city. We're not troubled, and we love our city, and we hope that the National Guard doesn't come in and cause people to have questions about Memphis because it's a city they should visit. Let me ask you this about, you said that the homicide rates are coming down to an all-time low?
In modern recorded U.S. history, yes,
When
sir.
does modern recorded history start?
I think the FBI, and I'll get back to you on this, has stats on that going back about 30 years, sir.
Okay, I was thinking back to Ozzie and Harriet, and I didn't think you could beat Ozzie and Harriet's time. Secondly, you mentioned the Epstein case. Did any of the women that were victims, they came up here and had a press conference and all, did any of them contact your office and ask to give information?
To my knowledge, no, sir.
If they did, let me ask you first, is there a statute of limitations on sex crimes like that, with sex with a minor, rape?
The DOJ is the expert, but I do not believe there's a statute on that, limitations on that.
So there's not a statute of limitations. Should you not be interviewing those people who know who raped them and the names and the places and give you that information? That seems like that's a treasure trove of information. It's a serious, serious, serious number of crimes.
Sir, I couldn't agree with you more. We've been very public about asking individuals to come forward with new information, and we would run out every single lead on that.
Well, I'm sure the women will come forward, especially today, to be sure that they will get an opportunity, because that seems like something we ought to do. Mr. Driscoll, what was his reputation?
I can't comment on Mr. Driscoll's matter. It's an ongoing litigation.
Yeah, but his reputation you can tell us about.
I can't tell you about his reputation. His work has been laid out in that lawsuit.
How many of the FBI agents who worked on the January 6th case have been fired?
I don't have that number, sir.
Do you have a ballpark figure?
No, but I can tell you that individuals based on case assignments in the FBI that I have led have not been terminated for case assignments.
Thank you, sir. Come back to Memphis, and you work with Kevin Kane in our tourism bureau.
He's great.
Thank you. And thank you for your work in Memphis.
Gentleman, yes, back.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized.
So I've got 4 documents I'd like to introduce into the record. The first one is Jeffrey Epstein's 6th story played out for years in plain sight. And Acosta is quoted in here saying, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone." The second document is entitled, "What Epstein's Bodyguard Warned About His CIA Connections." The third document is from Fox Digital. It's titled, "Epstein's Private Calendar Reveals Planned Meetings with Obama Admin Official CIA Chief." And the last document is Wall Street Journal article that highlights Ehud Barak's 36 meetings with Jeffrey Epstein. He was the former Prime Minister of Israel and head of military intelligence for Israel. It may have held that title when he met Epstein, and then, yes.
Without objection, the gentleman will hold for a second. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one UC request. This is Judge Engelmeyer's decision from August in U.S. versus Epstein, stating the government.
Okay, so much talk about Epstein, and I wanted to get to the statue. So it says, this is an article that I'm reading from WUSA, and it is published today at 8:07 this morning. So it says, as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. The statue of the president and Jeffrey Epstein has been hauled off of the National Mall. So Tuesday morning, the statue depicting the president and the late disgraced financier and sex offender holding hands and skipping showed up on a National Mall. Now, this would have had to cost a ton of money, right? So who the heck has money to waste and just put this up here? And how was they able to get that close to the White House or whatever without being seen or hauled off you know, for defamation or whatever, defacing the White House. But anyway, it says as has been hauled off by the hauled off the National Mall. Okay, so the National Mall, I should say. So Tuesday morning, a statue depicting the president and a late disgraced financial. They're skipping and holding hands. Okay, the statue plaque said, it says, in honor of Friendship Month, we celebrate the long-standing bond between President Donald Trump and his closest friend, Jeffrey Epstein. So what do y'all think about this and who put it up? It just don't make sense to me right now. It says, but by Wednesday morning, U.S. Park Police removed the statue around 5:30 a.m. Reddit users, Are You a Vegetable, caught the act in a video posted to the Washington, D.C. subreddit. And it says a permit for the statue said it is allowed to remain on the mall until 8 p.m. So they had a permit. A permit for the statue said it was allowed to remain on the mall until 8 p.m. Sunday, September 28th. The park police told WUSA that it was removed for not being in compliance with the permit, but they did not explain how it violated the permit. This don't make no sense to me. Like, the permit does include a clause that it can be revoked at any time, as long as the permittees was notified of the reason at least 20. So what's the purpose of getting a permit if they can just avoid the permit and just do whatever? Nothing is making sense. So according to the permit, the statue also had full-time security. So where was the security at when the statue was removed? If the people didn't want it removed that put it up there, I don't get it. What do y'all know about this? Because it ain't making sense to me. So according to the permit, the statue also had full-time security. Trump has made repeated efforts to distance himself from Epstein, despite reporting of mounting evidence that they knew each other well. Photograph linked him to the sex trafficking suspect triggers, and the Washington Post recently posted that the president gifted him a drawing of a woman, and somebody placed that same drawing on a building. Let me see if I still got that in here. I mean, but this just, yeah, I probably took that out. But, so anyway, he's been trying to distance himself from him, and the photograph linked him to the trafficking suspect. The Washington Post recently reported that the president gifted him a drawing of a woman's torso with a note, and we seen that. And that happened in 2003. He has denied writing the letter despite his signature that we've been seeing on the executive orders, and though it is signed by him. Epstein was unalived, allegedly. He did it to himself in a New York jail while facing the trafficking charges in 2019. Yeah, I still don't know no more than I knew before. Like, how does this happen? Dark gets it. Kevin said, who cares? Back to the Epstein list. Okay, so is this another distraction? Is that what we looking at? Okay, let's go to, I wanted to hear Jasmine Crockett's part here. Let's go to her. Where's she gonna start?
Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a Black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing, except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice or whatever you want to call him.
Boy.
The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, Black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I mean, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that, I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I think you're witnessing some auditions, clickbait auditions for the Academy Award for my Democratic colleagues. We'll see how they fare as they're on MSNBC later on today. But do you care, before I launch into my line of questioning, to respond to Ms. Crockett from Texas on that very elaborate and theatric display?
Here's what I've learned in my government service. I don't give a damn what they say about me as long as I'm succeeding in the mission. We're succeeding in the mission because the men and women of the FBI have never been empowered to do more work and to hit the streets harder than by President Trump's authorities and resources he's given us. And so all I care about is that we are capturing more child predators than ever before, taking more drugs off the streets than ever before, that we are capturing murderers at a significantly historic rate, and we're delivering this country the lowest murder rate in recorded history. That are facts that you cannot dispute, but you can come at me all you want. I don't care.
Thank you, Director, for that. And we appreciate your service. We appreciate the results speak for themselves, I think, pretty plainly, and your commitment not only to results, but to transparency. So we do appreciate that.
All righty. I definitely wanted to hear what she had to say. And I want to go to what's happening today with the, wait, hold on. Wait, let's go to this one first. Is this the one? Give me a second, y'all. Let's see what this one is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, just like the rest of the federal government, there have been significant personnel changes at the FBI since President Trump took office. I want to better understand the scope of the turnover and the changes occurring at the FBI. Since January 2025, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated from employment? I need a number.
We'll get you a number.
What is the number? You don't have it?
Not off the top of my head, and I want to get you the right number.
Would it surprise you to know that it's probably in the thousands, like 5,000?
I don't think that number's accurate.
You don't know. Next question. How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Say, we will get you the numbers, and anyone that retires is of their own volition, and anyone that is terminated at the FBI, as I've said before, is done so because they have failed to meet the standards and uphold their loyalty and oath to the Constitution.
Yeah, so you say. Next question. How many executive assistant directors, or special agents in charge have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Again, people leaving on their own accord or terminations were done by the standards set at the FBI that have been carried out.
With this question, I'm getting to the leadership of the FBI, and you don't have that answer. Next question. Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And do you have the answer to that question?
Yeah, actually, every single field office in the country, including Hawaii, has received a plus up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025. That's your answer?
In Hawaii, there's been a plus up. In every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
It doesn't matter. I'm under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left. Next question.
Nope, that's not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clips. So you keep asking it. And
Okay, so because I don't have a lot of time, I want to talk about what's happening today with the detainees that were unalived at this facility and all of that. So I want to get to that right quick and see where they are with that. I know that they did do
Trisha's with us now. Dana.
Yeah, Trisha McLaughlin, thank you so much for being here. You've had about, I think.
So I know that they did do a press conference, but where they are right now, it says 2 detainees are dead and another is in serious condition. So what the heck was this all about? And the press conference that they did do didn't give a lot of information, but it says 2 detainees are dead and another in serious condition following a shooting at a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office. I wonder if all of those FBI people wasn't fired, would it be different for them? Because that's a lot of people. They said thousands of people was fired and lost their jobs for whatever reason. And it says enforcement field office in Dallas, according to the Department of Homeland Security. The FBI is investigating it. And one thing that I noticed is that they are investigating, but they did not give a lot of information. If you give less information, it's less that you have to roll back, and it's less that you have to debunk people debunking and all that. So they handling this different than how it was with Charlie Kirk when that incident happened. It seemed like a lot of information came out, and then people are debunking the heck out of almost out of everything that they said, the official story. But it says here to investigate, the FBI is investigating, and it's an act of a targeted violence. And they said no officers or anything was unalived, but the detainees. So according to what was this about? According to and they said the person that did it unalived himself or herself. I don't think they told us what the gender of the person was. So none of the people shot were members of the law enforcement. At least 2 detainees were among the victims, according to 2 law enforcement officers with knowledge of the incident. The shooter is dead from self-inflicted gunshot wounds, according to Christy Nome of the Homeland Security. A DHS official says the shooter opened fire from a elevated position. And they said, what? Anti-ice written on the bullet casing on the scene. So we got another, what is this, a copycat? They did the exact same thing, so they wrote on the casings too. So they, CNN reported this about 55 minutes ago. Following the news conference outside the Dallas ICE facility where the head of the FBI field office said rounds were found near the suspected shooter containing messages that were anti-ICE in nature. What? Let's see what they saying.
How do you determine who was the target of these bullets? Was it the ICE agents or the detainees?
That's what
either way, it's monstrous. But I think that this is something that Homeland Security Investigations is going to be looking at, as well as our partner law enforcement. We're going to get to the answers for the Americans.
Yeah, see, I'm a little confused if detainees was fired on and the officers wasn't. And then he took his own self out. They didn't even take him out. That just don't make any sense. Yeah, I'm going to get to the conference
as soon as we can.
Tricia, one question about people who would be being led into this facility at this time of the morning. Are these people, in your experience, I know that you don't maybe not know specifically, but would these people be people that were just picked up overnight, or were they in process to be repatriated, deported, because they'd already been through their due process?
So this was not a detention facility. This is a field office. So this would be a short-term processing. So they would likely not have been on their way to being deported. It would be more likely, I can't speak to the exact specifics because it could be a case-by-case basis, but in this case, it's very likely that they had recently been arrested by ICE.
I see.
Okay, so Brooke Taylor confirms, our correspondent out of Dallas, says the following. I'll just read it. ICE Dallas also now on the record, no agents or officers hurt. The shooter shot detainees on way. Our crew, rather, is en route to the scene there. Trish, when you talk about a field office, what happens there?
There's processing that happens there. Of course, this is where our brave men and women of ICE work. But again, I do remind viewers that it was just a month ago to the date that there was a viable bomb threat here. So this location, it looks like it's been targeted, and we don't know how long this individual has been planning this act. It looks like he could have been watching to look at the processing and see what happens on a day-to-day basis at this Dallas field office. But this is all answers that Homeland Security Investigation is going to get down to the bottom of.
Could we zoom out, Tricia, and tell me a little bit what you know about the possible bomb threats or threats across the country, where you're seeing them the most? We mentioned a few places, Massachusetts, Los Angeles, Chicago, but are there others? And maybe the scope and the scale of the threats that you are dealing with on a daily basis and trying to figure out, is this a real threat, is it not? I know you take all threats seriously, but I'm sure that all of these threats have ramped up in the last 9 months, and I'm curious what the scope and scale is so that our audience can understand how seriously you take it and how widespread the problem is.
Absolutely. Our law enforcement are facing a 1,000% increase in assaults against them. That's just day to day doing their job. DHS is a law enforcement agency, and they're simply enforcing the law that's on the books.
Okay, here's the press conference.
Let me start off by saying that I'm a person who believes very, very strongly in the power of prayer, and that prayer changes things. And so I'm going to ask everyone, please join me in praying for the families of the folks who lost their lives today. Pray for the speedy recovery for those who are hurt and were injured in what happened today.
Now, he asked for people to pray with him, but he ain't say not one prayer.
But maybe even more to the point, we're a country and a city that needs prayer. So I'm going to ask you all to join me also in praying for this city, that we can come together at a time like this, and that we can be there for one another the way we always have in times like this, to support one another, to help us all get through this very difficult time, not just in our city, but in our country. And that's why I'd ask you to pray for our nation. There's a lot going on right now in our country. A lot of it's confusing. It's a scary time. I've got children. I've got 3 young children, and I'm here to tell you that it is challenging to explain to them what's going on in our country right now. But I said before, and I'll say it again, I believe in the power of prayer to change things, and it can change the hearts of people. It can change this country. It can change the city. So please pray for everyone who's affected by today's tragedy. I also want to say thank you to the Dallas Police Department, and say thank you.
So this says the FBI didn't provide any details during the briefing about what was written on the ammunition until shortly after the news conference. So of the 5 casings shown in the photo Patel posted on social media, 1 has the words anti-ICE written in blue. That don't even make sense.
To the Dallas Sheriff's Department, Dallas County Sheriff's Department, Texas Department of Public Safety, and all of our various federal law enforcement partners who acted so quickly today to make sure that today's tragedy wasn't worse than what it was. So on behalf of the city of Dallas, I want to say thank you to all of you. And you're going to hear from some of those folks later, but I wanted to let you know that we appreciate what you all do, not just today, but every day, to help keep us all safe. And lastly, and this is really important, I would ask all of the city of Dallas residents who can hear me right now, let's be patient, let's remain calm, and let's let our law enforcement partners, our police department, do their job. This is an active investigation. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. And I want to encourage all of you to exercise a little bit of restraint and allow them to do their job to help make sure this continues to be a safe city, and that they can help us figure out what happened here today. But with that, I want to say, again, thank you to all the folks who came out this morning from our law enforcement community. I'll turn it over to our police chief, Daniel Como, to speak a little bit more directly to the investigation itself. And with that, Chief Como, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Today at approximately 6:40 a.m., we received a assist the officer call. We responded to the call, got to the scene, and we later learned that we had 4 individuals that were shot, 2 of them deceased, including the shooter. The DPD was able to locate the shooter, who was deceased. We're going to be working this investigation shoulder to shoulder with our federal partners. The FBI is on scene, and right now I'm going to introduce you to the SAC of the Dallas Field Division, FBI Joe Rumrock.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Joe Rothrock. I'm the special agent in charge of the Dallas FBI field office. I want to first start by thanking our partners in local law enforcement, specifically the Dallas Police Department, for their quick and timely response. I can confirm at this time that the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. It is unfortunately just the most recent example we've seen of targeted violence, to include here in North Texas, where back on July.
Okay, so these are the bullet casings, I guess, that Kash Patel posted. Okay, and let's see if he rolled this back yet. Hold on. Everything want to work slow. Okay, so what he posted about 2 hours ago, he said this with this picture. This morning, just before 7 a.m. local time, an individual fired multiple rounds at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility, killing one, wounding several others before taking his own life. FBI, DHS, ATF are on the ground with Dallas PD and state authorities. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. See the photograph below. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with the phrase anti-ICE. More updates will be forthcoming. These depictable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. We are only miles from Prairie Land, Texas, where just two... God dang it. Hold on, y'all. I lost my spot. Where just 2 months ago, an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility, targeting their officers. It has to end, and the FBI and our partners will lead these investigative efforts to see to it that those who target our law enforcement are pursued and brought to the fullest extent of justice. Thankfully, no law enforcement personnel were injured. Please pray for the injured and deceased. Yeah, I'm confused. I'm still confused. And I know y'all heard about the escalator stopping when they were in the UN and the teleprompter. Oh, and also these are the apartments that they were looking at for this guy. Or the area. I don't know what made him go over there, if he unalived himself, and I don't know exactly where. Let's see if we can get some answers.
Fourth, we saw a coordinated attack carried out against an immigration detention center in Alvarado, Texas. What I can also share with you is that early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack. This will be a whole of government response. There will be no resource not utilized to bring all those individuals who are responsible to bring them to justice and to hold them accountable. While we're not releasing identities of any victims at this time, what I can confirm for you is no members of law enforcement were hurt during this attack. If any member of the public has information that would help the FBI's investigation, I would ask that you please report that to 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, any piece of information will be helpful, but this will be an ongoing investigation between us, a number of federal partners, and our local partners, again, to ensure that anyone responsible is held accountable. With that, I will turn it over to my counterpart from the ICE Enforcement and Removal Office.
Good morning. My name is Joshua Johnson. I'm the Acting Field Office Director for ICE Dallas. I'll be brief with my comments, but I do want to start off by saying thank you to the Dallas Police Department, Dallas FBI, HSI, CBP, ATF, and virtually every law enforcement officer in North Texas for your support. This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities, and I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming in, they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives. Thank you.
Thank you all so much
Who
for
was the
coming.
person
Really
that did
appreciate it. Again, thank you all so much. As it was said here today, if you do have any information, reach out to 1-800-CALL-FBI. Thank you. Thank you.
This needs to stop. Violence is wrong. Politically motivated violence is wrong. It was 2 weeks ago today that we saw a political assassination in Utah that tore the heart out of much of this country. This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other.
Yeah, I think it need to start at the top. I really do. The going back and forth, the talking smack about people and just dragging each other, like, this is crazy. It need to stop at the top.
Attacking each other. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of law enforcement. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of ICE and CBP and everyone who puts their lives on the line to keep us safe. The divisive rhetoric tragically has real consequences. I hope that every one of us will pray. Number one, for the safety of law enforcement that are risking their lives to keep us safe. Number two, for the health of those who were shot and injured today. We still don't know the full details of who was injured, but for the families also of the victims of this shooting. Violence has no place. It is wrong. And we should come together. If we want to have a debate about immigration policies, we can do so in the halls of Congress without demonizing each other, and especially without demonizing the men and women who every day put on a badge and go risk their lives to keep us safe. And we should not be putting...
I remember the first time I learned about this guy, he was being dragged because Texas had froze over. Wasn't no electricity, people dying and all kind of stuff. And he went on a family vacation in a warm climate. I forgot where he went. But yeah, that was my first time hearing about Ted Cruz. And so I wanted to see what Kristi Noem had to say about this. Now, she's talking about the attacks on ICE enforcement and all of this, and she posted this a day ago. Let's see what she's saying.
Just something they could use to posture and attack. It's not going to fly, Sean, and you've already mentioned that it's unconstitutional. So this was just something they could use to posture and attack our ICE law enforcement officers over again. And that's what's so irresponsible about it. Governor Newsom waited many, many days to even sign this into law. And like you said, wouldn't even be enforced until January, which means that it's pointless. It's just something that they want to talk about. I was a governor when I had a bill and a policy that I thought was very important for my people in the state of South Dakota. We put an emergency clause on it. We signed it into law as soon as possible. That means that Governor Newsom doesn't think this is important. He just wants to use this to raise money. He wants to use it to go out and try to make himself feel like a big deal. And he's doing it by attacking our law enforcement officers and making their lives more dangerous. And every time I'm in a room with our law enforcement officers, I'm talking to them before they go out on our streets, I'm just overwhelmed by the fact that all of these young men and women have families, that they all want to go home to their families at night too. And that people like Gavin Newsom are making it much more dangerous for them just to go do their job. It's not.
Man, I think everybody going back and forth is making it dangerous, especially coming from the White House. And so as far as what's happening right now with this shooting or detainees being fired on, 4 hours ago, she said there was a shooting this morning at the Dallas ICE government field office. Details are still emerging, which we listening to them, and it was little emerging, but few details are emerging. I can say we can confirm that there were multiple injuries at the facility. The shooter is deceased. While we don't know a motive, we know, okay, so we don't have a motive, but these casings conveniently told them, you know, that this is politically motivated. He's anti-ICE and all of this, but he shot the detainees and himself. It just don't make sense to me. I mean, after seeing, you know, all of the debunking going on with the Charlie Kirk incident and all the stuff that I'm seeing that make a lot of sense to me, that's why I was just like, man, let me sit back and just watch, because it is too much. I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to listen to anymore. Like, what the hell? We pretty much only know what they put out and what they spend, what they want us to see. And we just take it and do what we do with it. But that Charlie Kirk thing was a little bit different because it was live and it's all kind of videos slowing it down. It's just so much. But I reported it before the last live that I did. I talked about that, where I said this guy, and I gave y'all the information that he said it came from the top behind him. And then the other day I was watching a video and it literally is a bush up there out of place that looked like somebody is standing behind that guy. That old guy that they caught in the beginning seems like he was just put there to waste some dang on time. And you know, it just don't make sense. I don't know. Oh, and that news conference. I mean, that when Tyler went to court, it looked AI-ish. I already said that. It didn't make sense. His body language, his movements, it looked like, why did it have to look so weird? I mean, we are in 2025. We have great equipment. There's no reason why he needed to be looking like that sitting in court. He looked like a whole AI figure to me. Okay, so a month ago, an hour ago, Christy Nome posted this. For months, we've been warning politicians and the media to tone down their rhetoric. I think this is ridiculous, because if the president can do it, anybody can. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that's following the president. We seen that with the, you know, what happened on January 6th. So I will say the president should definitely tone it down, because he got a lot of followers, right? And he got the power. So if it started there, it would be great. Like, lead by example, I will say, because what I'm seeing is dangerous. Everything that I'm looking at, and it's power in a lot of people, right? If y'all haven't smacked the thumbs up yet, please do. But she posted, for months, we warned politicians and the media to tone down their rhetoric about ICE law enforcement before someone was unalived. These horrendous killings must serve as a wake-up call for the far left. Like, how do you blame, like, I see how they blame Tyler and said that he was a far left, even though he came from a Republican family and all of that, and his grandmother even stood on 10 on that. But this is what's causing the problem, pointing the finger. This is what's causing the problem and the division from the top. That's my opinion. What do y'all see? Because, I mean, just stop. Everybody need to damn stop. All I see is a bunch of people pointing the fingers, and why they doing that is 3 pointing back at them. It's everybody, okay? And everybody is grown as hell and need to grow up. I ain't never seen this in my life. This is my first time following it too, but at the same time, I'm willing to bet that it ain't never been like this, you know, before, you know, everything was out of whack. But anyway, it says, for months we've been warning the politicians and the media to tone down their rhetoric about ICE law enforcement before someone is killed. These horrendous killings must serve as a wake-up call to the far left. That's crazy. Pointing fingers, that their rhetoric about ICE has consequences. Comparing ICE Day. Do they think that there's no Republicans that's on the far right that got immigrated or people that are immigrants that are affected by this as well? Or is it just the left that got people that's affected by immigration? These horrendous killings must serve as a wake-up call to the far left that their rhetoric about ICE has consequences, comparing ICE day in and day out to Nazis. the secret police and slave patrol has consequences. Well, when you got people that you praise and that talk about public execution and bringing that back and all of this and kids watching, what the hell are we talking about here? The men and women of ICE are fathers and mothers and sons, and so's the people that they talk about. But anyway, they get up every morning to try and make our communities safer. Like everyone else, we just want to go home to our families at night. Yeah, and the people that, you know, everybody want to go home. This is true. Like, I think everybody need to calm down and realize that we're all human and we all deserve to be here, and just deal with it, and let's keep being civilized, because the route that we going, it ain't nowhere to go but down. That's it. So the violence and dehumanization, yeah, I mean, this stuff apply around the board. I mean, I'm reading this and everybody need to be paying attention to these words, even a person writing them. Like, what the heck? This is just crazy. So the violence and dehumanization of these men and women who are simply enforcing the law must stop. We are praying for the victims and their family. And another thing that I don't agree with is these masks. And I heard that they put a ban on the face mask, the ice mask or whatever. I don't think that they should be allowed to wear masks, because people need to know who's approaching them. I mean, it puts me in the mind of Breonna Taylor, how they went into her house on a false warrant, a no-knock warrant that they lied to get. You come into their house like a bunch of damn thugs, and when they defend themselves, you try to arrest a man for doing it and unalived her, but never announcing yourself. And so those masks are no different, because you got people impersonating the cops, the ICE, and all this, and they are criminals. Cold-blooded criminals that want your life. So yeah, they do need to ban the mask. I mean, for what? What they need them? They replace them with the robes or what? I don't like them personally. It looks scary, and I don't remember them being so popular before COVID. So that's what I'm saying. Like, certain things usher in other things, and I don't know. Anyway, I think the killers was, oh shoot, that went away. Those are agents who work undercover to protect their families. Yeah, but they all got the mask on. And they are detained. It's different if they just walking around not putting their hands on people and detaining people and not telling them what they being arrested for, and not showing badges and not having uniforms that match. Anybody can go get a dang on badge. You know how many people get food? And this has been going on forever. At least identify yourself so a person won't be fighting. So you don't know if there's law enforcement or if somebody trying to kidnap you and your dang on family. So yeah, you shouldn't have to be put in that situation. You should know who's who that's approaching. That's what I would want. I mean, come on, man. Like, that's what I mean by treating people like humans. Let's not get away from that. But let me see. It was something else. Oh, well, let him finish.
Language out there that inspires madmen to commit evil crimes. Our prayers are with the men and women of law enforcement, and we ought to come together and have some decency across the political aisle to say this violence is wrong and it needs to stop.
Senator, have you been told that immigrant detainees were the victims of today's shooting?
My understanding is the details of who the victims are still being ascertained, so I don't want to go ahead of law enforcement releasing these details. What they have said is that no law enforcement was injured, and so that's a natural inference, but I don't know the details.
Special Agent, can you talk a little bit about some of the evidence you mentioned earlier, just for clarity? I think there could be a lot of questions. Our understanding is that some of the shell cases had specific writing that was relevant to the voting. Give us more information.
So I'm not going to go into any more details at this time. We will come back to you when we have more details to share. Again, our goal here will be transparency as those details become available, but we are still in the early stages of an investigation. Information is still coming in. When we have more details, we will come back to this group. So, I'm not going to be identifying victims at this time. The only thing I will confirm at this time is no law enforcement was injured. Certainly, you can respect law enforcement's need to make notifications. At this point in time, we're not going to take any additional questions from law enforcement. Again, I'd ask for you to respect the fact that this is an ongoing investigation. And as more details come available,
we're not asking for the names of the victims.
I understand.
General sense
I will.
If the victims are the detainees.
The only thing I can say right now is no law enforcement was injured this morning as part of the attack.
The less said, the less you gotta walk back. That's what I think. They ain't telling nothing. They're not trying to say too much of anything, and it is what it is. But after seeing the Charlie Kirk incident, I don't know. And so here's something Jasmine had to say.
As a criminal defense attorney, and Mr. Attorney General, you may have a different. If anybody does need to clean up DC, I would agree it is this man, because he is the one that is causing half the crime that we have. Not only is he participating in the crime, but we know that he instigated the insurrection. And if I did say that I had one issue with the Biden-Harris administration, it is the fact that they did not move forward and make sure that this man was put where he should have been put. Because the last time I checked as a criminal defense attorney, and Mr. Attorney General, you may have a different experience, but I never had a defendant that had 34 convictions for felonies and did not spend one day in jail. Never in my life. And the last time I checked, the party of law and order is the only one that decided that they would be out of order and decided to nominate someone who was not only indicted, but was actually convicted of multiple felonies. That has never happened in this country, and it is a shame that we are dealing with it now, and now he wants to tell y'all how to do your jobs.
Man, listen. And then let's see what she said here.
2006 was a different time. You know, it was a lot different as it relates to the movement and what was going on. I said, let me tell you something. I've been practicing law since 2006, so I know what was happening in 2006. Right. So I was really ready to tear in and really get down to some other things because I've dealt with child sex cases. And based on the little information that I know about what he had back then, in my opinion, he had more than enough evidence, but he was arguing that he didn't. And I said, well, let me ask you this. Towards the end of the time that I was going to be there, I asked him, I said, normally prosecutors consult with the victims. And there are some cases that I've had to go to trial on, not because the prosecutor.
Y'all, please double tap that screen and smack the thumbs up. We're trying to get to at least 300 thumbs up.
Necessarily wanted to, but after they consulted with the victims were saying, no, I want my day in court and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And that's why you had a problem. And so he gave all these excuses about.
And also they didn't alert the victims.
Correct. Because they weren't.
Plea deal.
No, he was telling us about all these conversations he was having, but he wasn't having the conversations with the people that were a part of the case.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all, please help us get to 300 thumbs up. We at 268 right now on the politics side. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, please double tap the screen to get to the thumbs up button. And I have to go. I have a court date coming up for the people that know about Kimani Lateef. That is what she has a court date today. So I'll probably come in on crime and give an update about it maybe tomorrow or something. All we want to see is the list. Okay. Trump was never right about anything. Somebody said propaganda. Does anyone realize these people lie? Are you kidding me? You all are wasting your time. Yeah. Hey, we still got to look whether it's lies or not. We going to listen at them and determine if we think it's a lie or not. These are the people in control. Like, I mean, who else are we supposed to be listening to? I mean, at least get their story of what they said happened. But I can tell you what, I'm understanding how this is his story versus the damn truth. I can see how everything happened because I'm sitting here looking at how everything is being dismantled. And I mean, it's jaw dropping. Really, it's really scary to see that. You know, it's like people just ready to meet outside, put a boxing ring out. Everybody is coming to blows. And I don't know who the orchestrator is or all of the things, the moving parts that's happening, but all of these shootings and different things happening at rapid speed is not normal. It's ridiculous what's happening in the state that the world is in right now. I'm looking at a bunch of kids, man. What the hell? What are we doing here? What are we looking at here? And then meanwhile, look, it's some type of typhoon or something going on in China right now. It's wild. At least FBI. But anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We had 278 thumbs up, and we wanted to get to 300. And we can, because we got 359 tuning in on the politics channel and a total of 569. So y'all, please smack the thumbs up, and we'll be back. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make this go viral. Shout out to Julian Fry. Shout out to Billy Pie, Miguel, DJ, White Man, KRAR. Shout out to y'all. Brando. Y'all please smack the thumbs up on the way out. Kind of in the building. Please smack the thumbs up, man. YT Student, Dreamin' Merch, Kevin Cass, I can only hope so. Shout out to y'all. Smack that thumbs up on the way out. Sarvez, let's go. Shout out to the 439 still in here. Peace and love, y'all. We out.